What's going on, guys? So it is Thursday around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I've told you guys before, here at Fort Hood we get off at 3 o'clock if we're not in the field or something. But when I get off earlier, I try to come home, make some pre-workout food, because typically it's just like Apple Jacks, Sour Patch Kids, some sort of simple carb on the way to the gym. So now that I have some time, I'm going to make some protein pancakes using pure pumpkin and some Greek yogurt. Now the reason I'm using pumpkin, and you can use this to modify a lot of recipes. You don't have to just search like low carb, low fat, high protein recipes. You can use any recipe you find online and modify it some way to make the macros easier to track and easier to fit in your total allowance for the day. So when I was in college, I had this class called Experimental Foods. And it was like a class that everyone dreaded because at the end of it, you had to write a 30-page paper on the experiment you did. So my degree was in nutrition. So this is a class you had to have to graduate. And what you did is you chose a recipe and you modified it somehow to make it more healthy depending on what disease you were studying at the time. So the disease I chose was cardiovascular disease. And what I wanted to do was replace the high-fat ingredient in this recipe to make it more ultimately macro-friendly for the end user. So what I did is I replaced the full-fat butter with 3 variables. They were Greek yogurt, applesauce, and then it was like a prune puree. You can get it in like your local grocery store in the bake section, or the baked goods section. And what you do is you make 4 recipes every week, once a week, one with the full fat, and then one with each variable. And then you test it out. So you do objective testing and subjective testing. So, people would try it out and rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, and they wouldn't know what they were eating or which one. And then you would put it through a few measuring devices that would measure like the crispness, how soft they got, how easy they would break. It was actually a really cool and a really good class. And it just taught me and made me realize that you can make really macro-friendly recipes. Out of any recipe you find online, you just got to modify it. So we'll get into this video. I'll show you how I'm making these protein pancakes, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So this is a pretty simple recipe. I'm going to use 1 scoop or 1 serving of Dimetized Elite Whey vanilla protein powder. And to tell you the truth, the vanilla is not doing it for me. All their other flavors I really recommend and they're really good, but I'm not going to be buying their vanilla again. It just has like an unpleasant flavor. I can't put my finger on it. 80 grams of banana, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 30 grams of pure pumpkin. I use Libby's. That's just what I have generically in my grocery stores. 60 grams of vanilla Greek yogurt, 64 grams of whole wheat flour, which is 2 servings, and then half a cup of egg whites. So I'm just going to mix all this up, throw it in a pan. One pro tip that I've learned from multiple failures: you gotta smash up your banana with a fork in the mixture. If you don't, it gets clumpy, doesn't turn out as well. And my second pro tip, because I've made a lot of protein pancakes in my day, you want to make them thin and smaller, because when I make big protein pancakes, they get, for one, like spongy, and they don't flip as well. If you make them thin and smaller, they flip very well and they get crispy, and they kind of taste like regular protein pancakes. Protein pancakes. So I'll show you what this one looks like. It should turn out pretty well. So obviously they were pretty good, but they were pancakes. You can't go wrong with pancakes, especially protein pancakes pre-workout while dieting with Walden Farm syrup. Speaking of Walden Farm syrup, I remember when I first heard about this from like Chris Jones on YouTube, probably like 3-4 years ago. Maybe it wasn't that long ago, but I go into the store and I could buy like 10 bottles at a time. Now I go in and they sell out in a day. So the Walden Farms is moving up in this world. All right, guys, just to give you a little update on my cut. So I'm currently weighing in at 212 pounds. On Monday, I weighed in at 210. So I gained 2 pounds since then. And a lot of people would be discouraged by this. But the thing is, there's a lot of factors that can affect your weight in the morning or whenever you weigh in. And you should be consistent about the time and different variables that are affecting your weight, weigh-ins every morning so they're consistent. But, say I ate one meal a lot later than the night prior than my last weigh-in, so that could affect it. Or I drank more water the night before. a lot of different things. The time I weighed in, I'm not too worried about it. So this weekend, I'll weigh in again, and we'll see what my weight loss is like. I don't plan on dropping carbs in the next couple weeks. My next push will probably be dropping 5 to 10 grams of fat to decrease my calories a little more. But like I said before, this isn't a cut to get in contest prep mode. It's just to lean out a little bit and to see, what kind of progress I made in the last couple of months. Now, like subjectively results, looking at myself in the mirror, I'm definitely getting leaner. People in the gym have actually noticed, saying you look like a bodybuilder now. So I'm feeling leaner. People are telling me I look leaner. Obviously, I'm losing some weight, and the cut's been successful so far. Now, one question I want to touch on that people were bringing up, asking me if I'm still taking creatine during my cut. And absolutely, why would you not? A lot of people think, people always say like creatine. First off, someone told me that creatine wasn't natural. All right, that's wrong. Someone said creatine just holds water in the muscles and just makes you look bigger. That's wrong. What creatine does is when you supplement with creatine monohydrate, which I use, or any sort of creatine, it creates more creatine phosphate in the muscles. And creatine is very beneficial when you're going for short bursts of energy. Like lifting is the perfect example. Say you're on the bench press and you're knocking out 5 reps of 275. The reason you can't hit that 6th rep is because your muscles are fatigued because there's no ATP. You burn up that phosphate in the ATP. So when your muscles are burning up this energy, which they use ATP, that phosphate goes away. What creatine does, since it provides creatine phosphate in the muscles, is it sends that phosphate to the AT, and then you have more ATP in the muscle, probably getting you 1 to 2, possibly more reps. And that's how creatine works. Obviously, it'll retain some water in the muscle, so you may look bigger, but the intent of creatine is to get stronger, to get 1 or 2 more reps, which will yield, muscle gain. So using creatine while you're cutting is just as beneficial from while you're bulking. So use creatine and use it wisely. 5 grams a day, every day. Alright guys, so bringing back the yellow spandex pants. I haven't worn them for a while because the back's about to rip off, but I just figured they were a must for this deadlift session. Now this week, I'm kind of just feeling out my workouts and doing whatever I feel in the gym. And occasionally in between programs is what I like doing. And that's what I've always done in college, just going and do what I feel. But I like being on a program, so this weekend I'm going to write another program up, and I'll share it with you guys in my next video I put out. But I have staff to do this weekend, so that gives me literally about 24 hours to sit down and write a pretty awesome program. So as soon as I walked in the gym today, picked up my first 45-pound plate, I was about to start warming up on deadlifts, dropped it right on my foot. And I drop weights on my feet all the time, but they always end up in a weird position where it doesn't hurt, or something I can walk off in like 5 minutes. But this one has my foot pretty swollen right now. I think it's just been one of these things that over the weekend, take it, recover, let the swelling go down. But it was pretty painful towards the end of the workout. And initially, it hurt, but I could work through it. And then it started swelling up in my foot. And those minima shoes have literally no covering on top. So I just hate these injuries. I feel like I'm prone to injuries right now. First was my shoulder, then it was my foot. What's next? That's how I feel. But after I recover from this, hopefully I can get back on my training schedule on the new program and just feeling 100%. And a pretty interesting topic that I've been experiencing lately with people trying to lose weight and cutting, since it is cutting season. And I think this is the perfect time for me to be doing this little mini cut series on YouTube, so you guys can learn from experiences and mistakes I've made in the past. But I've realized what a lot of people are doing wrong is that they're afraid to start small. And what I mean is, say their maintenance calories are at 2,000. Well, they instantly think they need to go down to 1,200. From a lot of people I've been talking to, they drop their carbs pretty much to 0. They cut their calories a lot because they think they'll lose the weight faster and ultimately make their end result and their end goal in 2 months or half the time they really could. But the thing is, you want to take it slow. And I was explaining this to someone. This guy, he needs to lose weight. He's overweight, obviously. And he was like, well, I'll just drop my calories by 1,000. You said drop them by 500. Drop them by 1,000. Well, if you do that, you're going to lose the weight, but you're going to stall out fast. And you're going to get to the point where you can't lose any more weight without dropping your calories even more and your carbs even more. And I've been talking to people in the gym, and I know I brought it up but they're in contest prep right now, and their coach took them from 700 carbs maintenance to 150. And their coach won't even let them change their pre and intra workout carbs and spread them out the rest of the day, which is absolutely ridiculous. So if you're going to start dieting, start small. Start pulling, maybe 25 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fat at a time. Incorporate some cardio. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email is in the description box below. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can, even though I'm pretty busy, but I will help you out. Any of you guys feel that once you get hurt once, you're just prone to continuous injuries? So, first it was my shoulder that was hurting. And now tonight I dropped a 45-pound plate before I work out my foot. So that's hurting now, but it's just like one thing after another, rolling downhill, getting hurt. I just always feel like once I get hurt once, it's just continuously. But tonight, my post-workout meal lately has been about 2 cups of egg whites and eggs, some cheese, and then a whole head of romaine lettuce. I don't even track this. I know, like I say when I diet and get ready for a contest, I track everything, even vegetables. But this has like 6 grams of carbs. And since I've been doing it every night, I just decreased my entire carbs for the day by 5. So, I track up to 395 grams of carbs. And then I just assume that every night I'm going to have a whole pretty much head of romaine lettuce. So that's what I do for that. So I'm kind of tracking it. I'm just allotting some space for it. And it keeps me pretty full because, pre-workout, I had those protein pancakes. And on the way from work back home, I had Sour Patch Kids just because I felt like it. So I didn't really save many carbs through the night. I had a bagel, which is about 50 grams of carbs. But that wraps up the video, guys. I wanted to get one out before I start working this weekend. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you're enjoying this updated cut. I'm trying to give you guys all the information I'm doing and updating you. So I will talk to you guys in the next video.